Have you heard about Flex Wheeler? Do you want to know what happened to him and how he fought it back? To learn more about him, stay with us until the end. And welcome back to our channel, Bodybuilding Olympians. American bodybuilder Kenneth Flex Wheeler, born on August 23, 1965, is now retired from the IFBB. What's the IFBB, you ask? If you know the answer, comment down below. Arnold Schwarzenegger once called him one of the greatest bodybuilders he had ever seen. According to Ronnie Coleman, Wheeler was the best bodybuilder he faced in the competition. Wheeler was raised in Fresno, California, where he was born. He was poor growing up. Wheeler was abused as a child and had suicidal thoughts. Dyslexia caused him to suffer in school, and yet he was a star athlete. After learning to lift weights as a teenager and starting his bodybuilding career, Wheeler began his martial arts training. He has been quoted as saying his priority is being a martial artist and not a bodybuilder. Wheeler earned his moniker due to his exceptional flexibility, which includes the ability to perform a full split. The biggest elephant in the room concerning bodybuilding is undoubtedly the use of steroids. Although few individuals enjoy discussing it, we know it exists. Wheeler had a brief career as a police officer before devoting all of his time to becoming a professional bodybuilder. Although he entered competitions for the first time in 1983, it wasn't until 1989 that he won the NPC Mr. California Championships. He came in second place at the 1993 Mr. Olympia, missing out on a victory, something he was to repeat in the 1998 and 1999 Mr. Olympias. He has won the Arnold Classic 4 separate times, the South Beach Pro Invitational 5 times, the Night Champions once, and the Hungarian Grand Prix once. He has also won the Ironman Pro 5 times. Even though he didn't take first place at the Mr. Olympia in the 1990s, Flex Wheeler had great success there. He finished second in 1993, losing to Dorian Yates, 8th in 1995, 4th in 1996, second in 1998, nearly losing to Ronnie Coleman by 3 points, second in 1999, losing to Coleman again, and third in 2000. His outcomes are all the more astonishing, considering that he experienced 2 serious occurrences during this period that almost cost him his life. He was fortunate to avoid being murdered or paralyzed in a serious vehicle accident in 1994, and he was similarly lucky to escape harm in a carjacking in 1997. He relapsed into depression and had to restart his training, but he quickly returned to the top of bodybuilding. Wheeler was diagnosed with focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, a kind of kidney disease, in 1999. Wheeler declared retirement from professional bodybuilding competitions in 2000, but kept competing until 2003. In the classic physique division of the 2017 Mr. Olympia, Flex made a comeback and placed 15th. As anyone can attest, Flex Wheeler has experienced a lot over the past 3 years. But he just disclosed the horrific details of the events that cost him his right leg and brought him perilously close to losing his life. Bodybuilders were devastated to learn that Wheeler had to undergo emergency surgery and amputate part of his right leg. Flex Wheeler began competing at a high level, winning multiple shows and building a reputation once he started employing equipment. But things began to shift in 1999 when he finished second in the Mr. Olympia. Flex started experiencing kidney issues, the source of which is yet unknown to medical professionals. He claimed that after each competition, he would gain 30 to 40 pounds with severe edema in his hands, feet, and even genitalia. Wheeler said that physicians misdiagnosed him because of their presumptions about his physical characteristics. When they eventually performed a biopsy in 2000, they found that he had focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, FCG, one of the deadliest kidney conditions known to man. After that, Flex tried to continue competing despite being required to take enormous doses of medication. He was nevertheless aware that he had to compete honorably at this stage. From then on, things got worse, and the physicians were shocked at how Flex Wheeler handled things. He was experiencing acute renal failure as a result of his kidney issues. Despite numerous procedures, Flex was ultimately forced to have his leg amputated. In actuality, he nearly lost more weight by the time he had to undergo the operation. Quote, "At the time, the doctor just stared at me and I started crying because I knew. She said, 'Flex, we're there.' So I just said, just take it." End quote. Flex Wheeler chose to speak in a 2-hour interview, going into the most depth we have seen from him about the medical issues that resulted in the amputation, his mental state, and his current situation. Flex Wheeler talked about his early forays into the martial arts realm. This sparked his interest in bodybuilding, where he participated while also fighting. Flex initially competed clean, but after he decided to focus solely on bodybuilding, he started looking into performance-enhancing drugs. He began using some anabolic steroids, but after being made fun of by a fellow gym goer, he decided to try some androgens instead. But if you subscribe to the channel, you can become a bodybuilder without the help from steroids. Don't you want to? We're only kidding, but do go ahead and subscribe nonetheless. After his kidney transplant, he proved his haters wrong. Do you know how? Well, let's see. Most of the bodybuilding community knows Flex Wheeler's kidney issues and his recent amputation thanks to his comeback victory at the 2005 Arnold Classic. Flex Wheeler began competing as a natural bodybuilder, but as he immersed himself more in the sport, he began to test out various performance-enhancing substances. Flex began to experience kidney issues as he increased the number of steroids he used to bulk up for bodybuilding competition. HGH-12I employs 750 mg of testosterone kypionate and 1000 mg of primobolan ethanate per week for anaphase and daily insulin premiums of 10 to 20 IUS per day for trend balloons. As the top bodybuilder in the world, Flex Wheeler began to gain notoriety. During the Joe Rogan Experience, Ronnie Coleman recently didn't hesitate to talk about it. As a podcast host, Rogan remarked that many bodybuilders market pills and creatine as the keys to their success. The 8-time Mr. Olympia and arguably greatest bodybuilder of all time scoffed. When Coleman began bodybuilding at age 24, he was an all-natural competitor for the first 6 years of his career. Flex attempted to continue participating despite the enormous amounts of medication he was still required to take. Still, at this point, he began to join without using any drugs, despite suffering from kidney failure and amputation. During the consequences of kidney failure, Flex Wheeler started to experience severe pain and agony. After multiple treatments, Flex came very close to passing away numerous times. Flex Wheeler remembered being in excruciating pain following the treatment. He was taking a lot of medication whilst he was in hospital, but he refused to keep taking them after he left out of concern that he may become dependent on them. He claims the discomfort is still present, even though he's grown accustomed to it. Doctors warned him that he might need to have his remaining limbs amputated. Flex Wheeler stated that, regrettably, his kidney donor passed away in 2020. When Flex Wheeler's children were still very little, his donor, Reza, did not want them to grow up without a father, according to Flex Wheeler, who stated that Reza lost her father when she was a very small child. Reza stated that she had been battling breast cancer for 16 years, shortly after the kidney transplant in 2003. Regrettably, Reza passed away. Reza is referred to as a pristine angel by Flex. Flex likely conducted the longest interview of his career for this one. Flex Wheeler has overcome every challenge that has come his way, and we do not doubt that he will do so in the future. But what do you guys think is the reason for his kidney failure? Do comment your opinions down below. Also, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Refer to other videos too for more interesting content, and we'll see you in the next video.